Hey everybody, it's Colin Nitro from Nitromaniac TV's wrestling channel, and this is my take on WWE Extreme Rules 2018 in brief. Now the reason why it's in brief is I just got back from shooting a ton of content for my other channel, tinyurl.com/dragfiles. If you're a drag racing fan or a car fan, go check that out this past weekend. So I'm still wiped from that, and a lot of my equipment is still tied up with car stuff on it. So I found one memory card, and it's a 4 gigabyte memory card. So I got a very short amount of time to get everything in that I want to. So it won't be as in-depth review / opinion piece as past Nitro's takes. And also the fact that it's one day after the fact, and we've already gone through Monday Night Raw as well. You know, it's not going to be a lot of supposing. A lot of the set paths for SummerSlam seem to be set in stone. We're looking at potentially next week a Bobby Lashley, Roman Reigns rematch for #1 contender. I'm thinking that they're probably going to go with Lashley for that #1 contender. The #1 contendership, I should say, going into SummerSlam. And if you hear buzzing in the background, that's my room fan. It's been hot here Sunday, Monday as well. So just trying to keep this level as cool as possible, you know, so I don't cook. And, you know, drinking lots of water. So a little bit of life on the life experience on the wrestling channel for you. But anyways, Extreme Rules, things I liked about it in no particular order. The Iron Man match, main eventing, awesome. First time since Backlash in 2001 that a Intercontinental title match was the main event of a card. So hey, that was a awesome little a thing. And I'm just clicking in just to see who did the main event for a Intercontinental match during that. Well, the main event actually was the Tag Team Championship, because Power Trip, which was Austin and Triple H, defeated the Brothers of Destruction, Kane and Undertaker, for the Tag Team match. And this was it was a combined thing where all the champions were kind of sequestered into one match. So kind of technically as it was, there it is. That might have been where it was a standalone one-on-one match for the Intercontinental title. I think that might have been probably the first time since, what was it, In Your House 2 in '95 with Jarrett and Michaels, where that was the main event. I can't remember where the second ladder match was on the SummerSlam card in '95 between Razor and Shawn for the Intercontinental title. If that was in the main event slot or not, I might have to go back and see that. But very refreshing to see that. I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed the whole Seth going up 3-0 early and then Dolph coming back to tie it and using McIntyre as he should, you know, in that role, as kind of the diesel to his Shawn Michaels as well, going in there. And the match itself going into sudden death was, I thought, was fantastic, and it was my prediction as the match of the night. Now, my biggest disappointment of the night was the U.S. title match. I was expecting a lot from Hardy and Nakamura, but to get a squash in favor of Nakamura, not a fan of just the match. I think the result is fine. I think WWE fans are going to find out what New Japan fans have known for a while, is that Shinsuke Nakamura is probably one of your best mid-card champions you can have on any television program or any brand of pro wrestling in the world right now, because he held that IWGP Intercontinental belt for a while. That was kind of his belt for the longest time. Hopefully a nice long US title run for Nakamura. A heel Nakamura, well, is fine. I prefer face Nakamura in WWE a little bit, but I think that this could be a good little reset after the whole AJ thing. So And speaking of AJ Styles, Rusev, I really, man, I enjoyed that. It was a nice refresher to get Rusev into the main event. I think the Rusev Aiden English pairing works really well. And AJ, the match itself was, adequate to good. I really wasn't a huge proponent of the length of the match itself. I think that it could have went a little shorter and it would have been fine, but I think both those guys, they're really gave it their heart, and that's something that barely scratches the surface of what they can do, honestly, in a ring. Like if it was like an NXT takeover pace or something like that, or a WrestleMania or a SummerSlam type pace, we might have seen maybe a little bit more. But for Extreme Rules, they passed with flying colors for Extreme Rules. So that's pretty much all I can say with that. For a card named Extreme Rules and you have one Extreme Rules match on it, I don't know why you'd call it Extreme Rules then, but maybe that's the next thing that gets axed this year, because we've seen TLC get axed in favor of that Australian Super Show that they're doing in the fall this year. So who knows? Maybe this is where the second WrestleMania goes. Oh, jeez. One WrestleMania is enough. Like, really? It's just unreal. Strowman and Owens in the cage. Oh my God, what a ending to that thing. Just makes Braun look more and more like an unstoppable monster. Kevin looks, good coming out of this too, because now he's like, still gets over the cowardly heel thing a little bit, but now he's got, vengeance. He's got motivation to come back and try to get at this guy again if he has to. So it's just more and more cannon fodder, I guess, going forward. The entire match itself, where Kevin was just playing the chicken shit heel to try to get out of the cage all the time and that stuff, and escape with Strowman pretty much on the chase, was good. I love the handcuff spot, and it was actually one of the most entertaining WWE cage matches I've seen in a long time. Mostly because they've been putting the same guys in the cage here over the past few years. Like either you see Roman in a cage match, or you see Dean Ambrose in a cage match, or whoever, right? So this is kind of refreshing to get Strowman and Owens in the cage to see what those guys can do, and that's up at that end spot with the toss from Strowman, with Owens getting tossed off the top of the cage. Man, just that was a jaw dropper, and probably spotted of the night. So they did it bang on. A couple more quick hitters before we move on to Raw. It was SmackDown Women's title match with Carmella and Asuka, and James Ellsworth being his entertaining best. I love it. I think the dude's got a hell of a future as a manager. I think if he went with that full managerial role, I think he could be one of the best heel managers we've seen in an awful long time. I'd love to see it. I really would love to see it. And my rating of the entire card, I'm going to give it maybe a solid 6.5 out of 10 for this one, just because it was just kind of above average and that stuff, and it might have been because I was doing other stuff this weekend and everything. Just a lot of the glitz and glamour wasn't on it. No Miz on the card, no Bobby Roode. There was a lot of big talents that were kind of left off this card. Now Randy Orton came back, in the whole Jeff Hardy squash, and attacked Hardy afterwards. So if that leads to another Hardy-Orton feud like we saw earlier this year, maybe that's what happens. Or maybe there's a triple threat in the wings at SummerSlam for the U.S. title with Hardy, Orton, and Nakamura now, which wouldn't be a bad thing. It would be a very serviceable, very good match for the first couple of hours of that card. So yeah, 6.5. It's middle of summer. People are doing stuff. Now fast forward to the next night on Raw on Monday. The whole Brock Lesnar situation, I think WWE is handling this very interesting, or interestingly on TV, I should say, because of the just the up in the air of, okay, he's got this fight with Cormier probably on the horizon for the UFC title. What's going to happen now? And WWE trying to potentially cross promote with UFC and have Lesnar walk out with that fight with the Universal title around his waist. What's going to happen then, you know, going forward off that, and what do you do with, you know, programs with guys like Strowman and Lashley and that stuff. I really liked the 2 triple threat matches on Raw tonight, or, you know, earlier in the week, I guess, yesterday as this video goes up, between, you know, then the one, I think it was Reigns, McIntyre, and I can't remember who the third party was in that one, but the second one was Rollins, Lashley, and Elias later on in the night, and it was a very good couple of matches, one to start the show and one to end the show. Reigns and Lashley this soon after the pay-per-view, the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, makes sense. Not necessarily the result I would have loved to seen, but if that's what they're going for, that's what they're going for. I'm hoping we get Lashley and Lesnar at SummerSlam, because I think that would be very interesting if they kept it short between 2 similar styles. I don't think you can go more than 20 minutes with it, and you should go more than 20 minutes with it if that's the case. But if that's what's booked as the quote-unquote main event for SummerSlam, I'm hooked. I'm watching the card. I think that would be a great main event for the Universal title for sure. And you know, that's pretty much the big takeaway off of Raw. I thought the show was actually adequate after, you know, a somewhat adequate pay-per-view. That would make sense. So anyways, that's kind of just my informal thoughts in brief of Extreme Rules 2018 and the Raw that took place afterwards. Follow me on Twitter at @KillinNitro. And if you got any thoughts or comments, post them below. Like and subscribe this video, share it around. And you know, if you love this stuff, please subscribe. The more the merrier. It's awesome. I know we got the hardcore 33 of you that have subscribed to the channel, so thanks again in advance for that, or in the past, or however you want to phrase it. I'm wiped, as you can tell, so just babbling on and on and on. But and visit tinyurl.com drag files. These will be available for purchase soon online. I'm working right now on getting a link set up. This is the tank top. There are t-shirts too. We got black and gray shirts available with the Drag Files logo, and maybe one day we'll do up some for the wrestling channel as well too. Who knows? I just want to see how these sell at first, and you know, carry on from there. But anyways, later days, happy wrestling watching. We'll see ya. Talk to you next time, guys.